Welcome. Welcome to the live audio. Yeah. I mentioned this yesterday. Talk about this topic in the live stream I did yesterday. This one is success. Sorry. It's all about getting success, but not fulfillment. Becoming successful without fulfillment is still failure. Talked about this with the car, getting the fancy car, didn't we, with the comment I got from the listener about do we need to buy that fancy car. Anyway, and we talked about delayed gratification, but in this one, I've wrote a few notes down because I wanted to discuss this. So what do we mean becoming successful without fulfillment? So some people chase happiness in life. I think the problem with that is, depends what you think happiness is, but when I think of the word happiness, I see something that comes and goes, it's not a stable state. You can't always be happy. There are different emotions, you go up and down. And I think it's the same for things like love. Love can come and go. You can always love someone, but you can love them a bit more one day and a bit less the next, or whatever, or be in the mood or not be in the mood. Same with happiness. So, if you think about what we want, fulfillment is a good word. I also think content is a good word. I think about fulfillment for me is doing the right thing. I always say I get my happiness from doing the right thing. So, in terms of this, success without fulfillment, this might be someone that makes a lot of money, like a celebrity, but is depressed. And we see this. Why would a celebrity get depressed or, turn to drugs and alcohol and things like this? It's because they've not got fulfillment. Excuse me. They've not got fulfillment in their lives. I remember listening to, I don't know if you know who Greg Doucette is. He's big in the fitness world, bodybuilding world. And something he said was absolutely fucking brilliant. He said, Greg Doucette said he'd rather be in shape and poor than be rich and out of shape, like rich and fat. And I thought, yeah, I get that. I get that. It's a good thing that he said there. So in terms of what Greg's saying there, when he'd rather be in shape, like he is, he's mega in shape, always has been. He'd rather be in shape and poor than rich and out of shape. Because I guess he thinks that if you're out of shape, you're miserable. Not always, but there you go. So if you think about that, what is fulfillment? Well, really, to me, fulfillment is just living life on your terms, right? So it's are you living the life that you want? You might not be there yet. Are you happy with the direction that you've chosen? Right? Like I always say, create an identity, choose a direction, and aim at it, work towards it. Are you happy with that direction that you're heading? Or are you happy how things have turned out? I was reading, I was at my journal just 5 minutes ago, and the quote this morning, very famous quote, Earl Nightingale, this one, very, very famous. Success is a progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. I don't think you could put it better than that. That is like Just a few words. Success is a progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. That sums it up. Because what El Nightingale says there is success is it's not just making money or doing whatever. It's a worthy goal or ideal. It's one that you choose. The realization of a worthy goal doesn't mean it's there. The realization means you're on the journey, right? So you're on the path. So that there pretty much sums it up. So you could ask, well, are you successful if what you have is not the result of what you want? You know, are you successful unless you have that fulfilment? I've heard a few people say this. Rob Moore, in his book, Life Leverage, I think it's called, Life Leverage, he said it there, you know. Rob's done quite well for himself. He's done really well for himself. But he's also really happy with his life. And I think that's what matters. It's like, I've said a few times, you know, you should work on your average Tuesday. What does your average day look like? Are you choosing the days that you want? Like your average Tuesday. Not the highlight reel, not when you're on holiday. You know, if you want to improve your life, it's not looking at the next best trip or the next best experience this weekend or whatever. It's what does your average Tuesday look like? You know, you're getting up and having the day that you want. And obviously, preparing your day, this can take many years, but preparing your day is very quick for one day. Right, this is why I get up and if I'm training jiu-jitsu early, I will. I'll then do my journal and my reading. Sat here in the garden, it's wonderful. There's fucking squirrels running by. All right, it's cold today. Look at this. I've got gloves on and a blanket. It's absolutely freezing. But I love sitting out here, having that time, filling out the journal, reading my guerrilla jiu-jitsu book at the minute. Dave Camarillo, it's really good. You know, that, educating myself, there's a lot to it. Setting my day with intent in the journal, have it, and just that little bit of time in the morning means I have the day that I want. And I remember going back a few years, business now, it'll be, it's 12 years old, my main business, 12 years old. It'll be 13 years old in January, end of January. I remember when I started it, well, no, this was more like 2016, so not, you know, just a few years ago. What's that? You know, when I first started it, 2016, so 9 years ago or whatever. Sorry, I started it 12 years ago, but when I started creating the software 9 years ago, a lad in the office who I share the office with now, Danny, he's got his own business in the office. And I remember he had this life at the time that I dreamed about. I was consulting 40 hours a week, 50, 60 hours a week, whatever, traveling to clients' offices, having to be in, you know, all this like proper. And then before that, he had the corporate life where it was in the office, commuting in. And when I met Danny, I looked at him, I thought, fucking hell, he just gets up, has a bit of breakfast at home, there's no office to go to, because obviously he's an entrepreneur, and it was like, he just does what he wants, goes on holiday when he wants, has this brilliant life, trains in the gym, and I always wanted that lifestyle. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Yes, exactly. But I always wanted that lifestyle that Danny had, you know, where he could just have exactly the day that he wanted. And I was still a bit chained to the corporate world back then. And even when I first started my business, I couldn't shake it off. And yeah, it's took all that time, but now that's pretty much me. A myth you believe too long. Right, okay. Sorry, I don't know. There's like some little AI things that pop up now on YouTube. And it takes a long time to design that ideal life for yourself. I won't say it's ideal. I'm really, really happy with it. Just remember where I was. Started working towards it. And I think what made it for me was starting my days with intent. It was like when I started working with Scott, he was telling me, you know, in terms of how do you have the day that you want? Well, you got to start it with intent. That's why I always ask myself, what are the top 3 things I want to achieve today? And I make sure I do them, or at least 2 of them. Sometimes I do something else, but I'm aiming at them 3 things every day that are working towards that goal. Just like, remember, Earl Nightingale said, success is a progressive realisation of a worthy goal or ideal. So I do that every morning. And also Scott was telling me that it starts the night before. Get a good night's sleep. I journal in the evening as well. Reflection for the day. Right? I start the week, like today I'll do, after this, I'll do what's called the focus of the week, which is like your week plan. You know, you fill this out and I just write down all the things I want to do the coming week. Because I used to be the person, when I was in the corporate world, I had a job, right, which nothing wrong with that. But I was on someone else's schedule, in a way. And I wasn't setting my days or my week with intent. I would just be getting up, just on autopilot, going into work, commuting, getting the tram into the city, autopilot, no fucking plan. And just get in and just start working, you know, open up your emails and all the rest of it. I couldn't even imagine working like that now. Because just like you said there, you know, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Well, I didn't plan any day with intent. I wasn't planning any day. I was just rolling in the office and just, when you do that, what I find, when you just roll in the office without any kind of plan, you just end up firefighting. You're working on whatever people have emailed you and all these fucking requests coming in left, right and centre. That's why every day I believe in having that time, half an hour in the morning or whatever. I mean, the journal only takes 5 minutes to fill out, but I do some reading and it's like setting that, preparing yourself for the day, deciding what you're going to do, doing a bit of gratitude, doing a bit of that state management, you know, with the affirmation, educating yourself through reading. A bit of I like sitting here because, you know, it's like a little meditation. I just sit here and listen to the birds and, you know, watch the squirrels and stuff like that. It's just a bit of time before you start work. Obviously today's a Sunday, so I won't really work as such. So yeah, success without fulfilment is, you know, the secret is just living the day that you want. And it is every day. It's what does your average Tuesday look like? It's working on your average day to improve that. And I think that's the best thing you can do to overall improve your life. It's working towards those worthy goals or ideals. As Earl Nightingale said, success is the progressive realisation of a worthy goal or ideal. I don't think you could put it better than that. I think You've chose a direction. You're setting your days with intent, right? But you've created some goals ahead of time. So you've got this like direction. And then every day you're waking up and you know, you're writing down what are the top 3 things I need to do today. You're having that time in the morning to yourself before the work starts. And then you're doing it. And because you've set the day with intent, you can tick things off knowing, and it's really, really addictive and satisfying when you tick them things off that you set in the morning. If you say, I'm going to do this, and you do it, oh, it feels great. That is fulfillment. I mean, there's fulfillment in any area, you know. You can have fulfillment in relationships, say. Even thinking in relationships, fulfillment comes from having the relationship that you want, which is a plan. It's like, I want this type of, like, you know, we all have a type. I have a type, you know, a type of girl that I like. Don't really like anything else. I just like that type. And that's it. You know, we have a type. You know, we all have a type. Women have a type of men. I'm every woman. No. Oh, but yeah, that's same in relationship. You know, you get fulfillment when you get what you want, and it comes from. It's not just appearance. Also, you need that energy and that vibe, don't you? You know, it has to be effortless. Not effortless, but feel the connection feels easy. You might have little arguments and stuff. So yeah. Like I knew this guy, right? I remember I knew this guy who was very wealthy. Still know him, I just don't see him that much. Very wealthy guy. And he used to go in the gym. And he never, for the effort he was putting in and the money he was spending, like personal training, everything, he never got the results that he really wanted. Because his diet was shit and he drank too much, and all right, he had a good time and everything, and he was very wealthy. But he'd been married 3 times. I don't know if he really had fulfillment. Because he used to spend his Friday nights going in the same upmarket Ponzi wine bar with his fucking rich mates, and they'd all sit there acting big time, going after the waitress, like, that he never got. And I thought, I liked him, but it's like every fucking week he'd go in that damn wine bar or whatever it were, this fancy place, trying to get the fucking waitress, right? And I just thought, like, you could be doing anything with your life. Like with his mates, you know, they're all done well financially, but they're all doing the same thing. And I thought, you could be doing anything with your life than sitting in that fucking pub drinking, trying to chat up a young waitress that's not interested. She's got to smile at you because you're a fucking customer, probably spending loads of money. You could do anything with your life. You know, you could spend that, like, getting your physique sorted, or travelling to a new country and trying to do the same thing, you know, but not, I don't mean in a creepy way, but you could go to a foreign country and experience a new culture. The man in that fucking Ponzi wine bar, it's like, what are you doing? Anyway. No game. Right, anyway, thank you very much. I'm on that guy, I just could not understand why he would do that every Friday. You know, I mean, if you were getting good results, fair enough, but it wasn't, you know, and yeah. Why waste your time doing that? Anyway, right, thank you for listening, everyone. Bit of a shorter live today. Just remember, success without fulfilment is still failure. What you want is, fulfilment is about living life on your terms. It's about choosing a direction and working towards it. Doesn't mean you've attained it, but if you're literally just working towards it, I think that's more successful. Remember what I said about Greg Doucette at the start? You know, the bodybuilder, Greg Doucette. He said he'd rather be in shape and poor than be rich and out of shape. I agree with that, because at least he's chosen that as a direction. He wants to have that physique. You know, Greg Doucette is all about his physique. And the funny thing is, because he's working on his worthy goal or ideal, which is getting in shape, you know, the bodybuilder, the body that he sculpted, that has made him successful as well. That, it's like the videos I did on, you know, don't start a business without passion. I think that's true. If you're not focused on the money and you're focused on what you want and you've got passion for it, that's where you're likely to get successful. So Greg's saying he'd rather be in shape and poor than rich and out of shape is what's made him successful. Think about that. So, start a business. What do you need? Passion, 100%. You need to choose something that you're passionate about, that you're interested in. You're not just doing it for the money, because if you do just choose something for the money, like the latest trend, like I'm gonna get into AI or crypto or some shit, you know, whatever. You got to be interested in that stuff. Because if you're not, you'll give up before your success is realised, because things take longer. So you need that passion, right? You need some kind of unique skill or something that not many people can do that you're very good at. Doesn't have to be completely unique. Sometimes having competitors is a good thing, you know. I always think competitors demonstrates that there's a market. Sometimes there's no competition. It's like, well, is there even a market for this, you know? And then the other thing is understanding leverage. And leverage is using things like fucking AI, crypto, media, technology. Understanding how to leverage all these things, you know. Don't sell your time for money type thing. And then I would say lastly, taking personal accountability for the upsides and the downsides. You know, if you've got no skin in the game and you're not taking a risk, then you're not going to get the big payoff. So taking personal accountability, and that's it. So to find fulfillment in your success, it is literally just living the life that you want on your terms by pursuing a worthy goal or ideal. Right, thank you very much. Don't forget, like the video, subscribe, and see you all next time.